You might hate me for saying this, but the truth is, most men talk way too much, too early, or as we're familiar with, at the wrong times. Then these same guys wonder why their relationships are falling apart, or they feel lackluster. But the truth is, a good woman, like a real good feminine woman, the type of woman you and I both want, isn't asking for perfect speech. She's just asking for grounded, raw, masculine communication, which is timing, clarity, and emotional leadership. And in this masculine communication, you must realize, isn't complicated. It's consistent, calm, and most importantly, intentional. Howdy, my name is Nolan T. Painter. I'm an aspiring young man with aspirations greater than anyone will ever understand. In today's video, I'm going to teach you the skills necessary to be an effective masculine communicator. So the first skill is timing. Timing is the foundation, not the words. Think about it. The right words at the wrong time are still the wrong words. If you tell your girl while she's freaking out about some nonsense that she looks good or that she doesn't look good or this and that, she could feel like it's an attack. Now, from the man's perspective, it makes perfect sense. You're giving them a compliment or you're telling them something like providing a solution, right? She has a problem. Her boss is mean. So you tell her, okay, well, I'll help you with your boss, or I'll do this, or you can do that. The thing is, if you're telling your buddy that, like your good buddy, hey man, here's the solution to your problem, he'd say, thanks bro, I appreciate it. But women see it completely differently. And that's hard. You got to actually understand that as a man. They're the opposite side of the same coin. So if you want to solve their problem, don't give them the solution, give them peace of mind. So just sit with them and be with them. That's infinitely better than providing the solution. As much as it sounds weird in your mind, it's the truth. Because emotional conversations require a safe moment, not a pressured one. So don't try to apply a band-aid to this situation, but rather just run the wound under some warm water. Be present for your partner. And good timing means not ruining good moments with heavy topics and not worsening bad moments with more negativity. In this, people think there's two sides. The man who is always too vulnerable, and then he's punished by his partner, which is why men don't want to operate around vulnerability. And then the man who's never vulnerable, and he's stone cold. Either way, you're hurting your partner and your relationship gets ruined. So the right option is none of those. It's finding the right time to talk. So if you want to say something that is hurting you, like you feel like you're not seen, or you feel like you're being punished by her, and maybe you're a little jealous, maybe you're uncertain, maybe you want to say something embarrassing that you don't feel very proud to say, you don't say that at a really good moment, because believe me, women love the moment. They'll do anything to be in the moment, all right? So, that involves shutting you down when you want to talk about things. So you can't mention things when she's in the moment. Now, a good woman is able to still manufacture healthy conversation in the moment. But needless to say, you don't want to ruin the moment. So don't say heavy topics at a good moment. And of course, needless to say, never bring up heavy topics in a bad moment. Because if she's going through something horrible, it's your job to make sure she's safe and well, not add to the conversation to make things worse. And that includes, saying something that'd be heavy on your heart. So what do we do here? Well, we set a specific time. We choose a calm day or a planned moment to talk seriously. And you have to determine that as a man. You can't ask her. You have to determine that as a man, as the leader. So that means if you're at a restaurant and you ask if you want to say something and she says, it's okay, that's a bad time. You're in a public space. Not a good time to talk about vulnerable things. So you wait till you're chilling out together, not doing much, right? When you're distracted on your phones and you're not really engaging that well, then you make engagement off of that and it builds your relationship. Or you do what I learned from my previous relationship. You set a specific day to talk about things in a healthy, matured way. Think about it. If something bad is happening, you build your relationship and it becomes healthier. If something good comes of it, well, it's good. So nonetheless, there's a positive outcome of having healthy masculine communication chosen at the right times. So not only you're avoiding conflict, but you're actually creating this more purified, healthy communication with your partner. And it lays down the expectation that you're allowed to talk about anything you want if it's healthy. And grounded men know when their partner is emotionally open and when she needs space. You have to see this, and you have to be involved within her emotions. That's why good men cannot be emotionally dissonant from their partner, because how else are they able to be relating to her emotions, so that way they can provide the right solutions at the right times. And in this, we get to the second skill, emotional leadership. Men are taught to be emotional dissonant, as I said. We are taught to be distant from everything we love, and we are taught to never talk about our emotions or even reflect upon them. But not only as a man do you need to look at your own emotions, but you need to look at her emotions, because a man sets the emotional temperature in the way his thermostat sets the room. And I know this sounds a little ridiculous to say, but as a man, you naturally lead women, right? Being a leader isn't something you just do, it's natural. The same way a woman naturally submits to you, you naturally lead your woman. Just me being me, not even trying intentionally before I even discovered the whole grounded masculinity stuff. Just me naturally being around my woman made her more feminine. And she told me. So this is an effect men have naturally. So you don't have to worry about doing it. Just worry about doing your best, which isn't perfection, but it's consistency. And in this, you have to realize you set the emotional temperature. You control the emotion. If your woman is freaking out, like let's say she's just, going crazy about something horrible. And like this can be her parents died, this can be her boss was rude to her at work, this could be she's just frustrated over something or the day, or she's just having a meltdown, right? And I'm not saying that to be disrespectful. I'm just saying that she's very upset about a situation. Men can be upset about situations, but we tend to conceal this, where women tend to, as much as I appreciate it, give this to others. And that's the most beautiful thing with a woman, is she's open with her emotions. And you're a good man if your woman is able to give you her emotions for two reasons. Number one, she feels safe, and safety is essential in women because it's like their sixth sense, right? Physical, emotional, spiritual safety. They crave it. If they don't want to be with you, it's because they don't feel safe, right? So first of all, you feel safe, or she feels safe around you. And second of all, she trusts that you're going to do good things and calm her and be protective with her emotions. So she trusts you with her emotions, which is why she's constantly trying to give you her emotions, not because she wants to neglect you or be a nagging wife, but because she trusts that you'll be respectful with her emotions. And in this, you set the temperature. If you're calm and you're rational, well, she's like freaking out about something, she will come to you. She will realize it's okay, not because you said it's okay, not because you provided a solution, but because you are the solution. You are being calm, you're being grounded, and she will come and sit with you. She'll give you a hug and say, I'm sorry, and you'll say, it's okay. And she will love you way more. She will love you like 1,000 times more just because you sat in silence with her than if you actually sat and gave her solutions. Because that means you completely understood her and you used your emotional tone to lead her to a more grounded environment. I like to say men are like a pole rooted into the center of the earth, and we're sticking it over the ocean. We're struck by lightning, hit by storms, and of course giant waves. But we never fault. We never fail because we're rooted in truth. We're grounded in truth, not logic, because logic can be skewed to a point where we want to argue with our partner, but truth. Truth always being that we have to be the center pull. And that goes both ways. If she's incredibly eager or lustful to do something, you have to pull her back down to reality. And that doesn't mean, telling her, you're delusional, come back to reality. That just means sitting patiently. And it might take time, but that time will breed a much stronger bond. Because a calm man calms the room. But an anxious man, on the other hand, he makes the room unstable. Because imagine your partner's freaking out and you get up and you start freaking out. First of all, that communicates that you're a poor man. And second of all, that communicates that it is something to be worried about. If you don't want your girlfriend worrying, why are you going to worry about it? If you're worrying about it, it communicates to her that the masculine man, the man that determines how important things are to her, if he's worrying about something, then she needs to worry more about it. But if he's not, then she'll come back to it. And that's a big deal. And I'm proud that I naturally did this occasionally. And as a goal for myself, I'd like to do this more often. And in this, we need to realize that women are hypersensitive to tone, tension, and inconsistency. So if you are providing a very healthy tone, she's hypersensitive to it. She will pick it up. If there's no tension and she can feel there's no tension, she will pick it up. Let me give an example. Every time I left this lady's house, I'd give her a little kiss on the lips and then I'd say goodbye, I love you. Simple as that. It was consistent. One time we had a little bit of an argument and I was terrified. I was so scared. I let my emotions run me. So when I was leaving her house, I kind of gave her a hug and I just stared at her and then I left. That was some thick tension. That was very awkward. And I asked her, a couple days later, I said, I was really scared, but I wanted to give you, the kiss because that was what we did. And she told me, I wanted to, but I didn't know if you wanted to. So that tension, that inconsistency, even though I wanted to, I failed to communicate that, and I failed to be consistent. So she picked up the inconsistency, saw me as a man who wasn't worthy because I couldn't give her consistent love because I fell apart, and there was tension. So you got to be careful there. And it makes sense. Women are biologically attuned to safety, so it makes sense that they pick up on things like tension and tone and inconsistency. If men are always looking out for the dangers in the world, like when you're walking with your partner at night and you're always, searching and your woman never realizes it, this is the opposite side of the same coin. Women are hypersensitive to maybe not crime around the street or possible combatants, but they're sensitive to their safety. And men don't realize this. So overall, though, emotional leadership means staying steady with your partner so she can feel safe enough to open up. And when she does open up to you, you need to like appreciate it with your full extent. Like give her your entire heart, because that means she is submitting to you. The same way a man being vulnerable to a woman should be a reason for her to submit to him, such that she's appreciative of what he's saying. And in this, we learn our third skill, direction without harshness, right? It's one thing to sit and do nothing, which is perfect. Just give her a hug and just be present. Presence is essential, but it also helps to do things at the right time. So masculine honesty isn't bluntness, it's clarity. When she asks if she looks good in this dress, of course, tell her the truth. Tell her, no, you don't. But you have to word it in the right way. You can't just say nonsense. And the reason why you have to be truthful is because if you're lying always to flatter her, and it sets an expectation that you're always flattering her. But you have to be rooted in truth. That means you can tease, that means you can have fun, but you have to be honest. Dishonesty is essential, because if you're dishonest, you're looking for a bad relationship. So you need to be careful, you need to be honest, always. And in this, you need to find simple statements like, I feel this way, or I'd like to improve this, or I'd like to fix this. Think about it this way. Let's say there's a bit of a rift. I want to fix this. Let's say she's dressing up inappropriately out in public. Let's work on this. Let's improve this. The point is you want to do something. You're not forcing it on her. You're not trying to punish her. You're not being harsh. And it takes time. And that's a big deal, because women love to take time. It's essential for them, because the more time it takes for a woman to be with you, the more her bond increases, the more her trust increases, the more she feels safe, the more she loves you, right? And if you take time to implement these things, she will actually love you a lot more. And that's a big deal, because then she trusts you more, she feels more safe. And in that, you got to realize, through time builds more commitment because of all those things. So she's more committed to change for you. She's more committed to follow your authority as a man who leads. And she'll see through proofs. Women love proofs. Those situations where, like, let's say a car, runs you over, and you're Superman, you pick up the car, and you pick up her, and you carry her, and then you pick the car up with one hand. Obviously that's not going to happen, but that's a proof. That's a proof that you're strong, you're a leader, and you can take the hit, and you love her. And those don't come by very often. So it takes time for proofs to, come to her, so that way she can see that you're a good man, and you can prove yourself through these proofs. And in this, she'll trust and have more clarity with what you want to do, and she'll change for you. You'll make her more patient. You'll make her more calm. You'll make her more appreciative and more loving and a harder worker. I did this. That is my testimony. That is my proof. So what's the counter for men? Well, the counter is if a woman comes in and is hardworking and likewise is taking the time to want to be good, a man will want to work harder because he's competitive. And in this, you got to realize clarity removes confusion. So out of all of the things I said, you need to be honest. Because what's the point of honesty if you're not trying to aspire to have a healthier relationship? And what's the point of having a healthier relationship if you're not being honest? So without honesty, you have confusion, and confusion breeds insecurity, breeds jealousy, and it undermines all the safety, all the things we've been trying to build. What's the point of even having healthy points at good times if you're dishonest? And a man who speaks clearly builds trust and removes doubt, so you can actually attain all the things. And in this, we find leading without defending. Men love to defend themselves. They're competitive. It's natural. It's important. But in this, as important as it is to defend, because, we want to defend our woman, we want to defend people from us attacking our woman, assaulting our woman, insulting ourselves, right? We protect ourselves. We protect the people we love. So defense is very important with men. But you don't want to defend against your partner. That's the people you're supposed to be open with. So most men, while they're not listening, they're waiting to rebuke. They're waiting to talk back to their partner. But the truth is, even if she says the harshest words to you, you can't. I was told some pretty hurtful things, and at the end of the day, I said, you know what? I love you. You are an important person. You matter. And in that, you have to realize you need to be mature to a level where you can take the hit, because being able to take a hit and come back with gentleness is essential as a man, because true listening means letting her finish, pausing, and pausing is important. You got to stop, right? I know I'm talking very quickly now, so you can't see it as a good example, but if I stopped, then you would have a bit more attention towards the words I would say next. So in that, you got to realize women are the same thing, and they're a lot more sensitive to it. So you got to pause, respond with clarity. You got to listen, not to defend, but to actually say the right things, right? And a good woman feels loved when her emotions are understood, not solved instantly. So if she comes at you with a barrage of nonsense, and you're like, hey, this is nonsense, right? You don't tell her that. You just provide her with the helpful words. Not solutions, but helpful words to make her feel right. It's never about making her do right. It's about making her feel right. Women are all about feeling right. And I know that sounds wrong, especially for men. We're like, feelings, screw that. But what good would a woman be if she had no feelings? You'd be dating a dude. And we like women because they're women, not guys. So their feelings are essential. And in this, listening prevents escalation. It prevents miscommunication and it builds safety. That keyword safety that they love. It builds these beautiful things. So you can't defend yourself. Well, obviously you can defend yourself, but you should be gentle, you should be careful, you should be truthful, do it at the right times. And when you defend yourself, you're defending healthy points, you're not attacking her. And in this, you find gentle honesty about yourself, because it's one thing to reflect on your partner, but you have to reflect on yourself equally, if not more. So small lies that you tell yourself create large doubts, especially for feminine intuition. So remember that example with me. I thought to myself, she doesn't want to kiss me, she doesn't want this. And then the whole time she did. But that creates a rift with her because her feminine intuition is struck. She goes from seeing me as this man who's going to always want to do this to this man who might only do this if he feels perfect. And that's a problem because that's inconsistent, and that doesn't mean I'm a good man. And a good man is consistent, not perfect, but he's consistent. And what's important here is these small lies create doubts within myself. I lie to myself, so I'm doubtful. I lie to her, she gets doubts. She is doubtful of me. Because you cannot withstand a lie, but you can always, attune for honesty. And that's why I love promises. Promises are the most beautiful thing in a relationship when it comes to communication, because you're honest. And when you are honest in a promise, you provide the promise, you succeed with it, and it builds trust. It builds, it's like a proof. You're providing a proof on demand. I promise you I'm going to carry you up this mountain. There's a proof you just provided of why you're a good man. But if you lie, you can't provide a promise, so none of those things come. So you can never lie. And sometimes it hurts to tell the truth. Sometimes it hurts to be vulnerable, but you're the man. You choose when you do that. So you can choose the best moments. You can manufacture it. You can be careful with it. The thing is, though, you can't be going around like you're controlling the strings of a puppet. You need to be doing this naturally as the point of trying to be a good man for a good woman and because you love her. And in this, you have to realize honesty doesn't mean unloading all of your emotions everywhere, right? It means doing the right things. It means telling the truth at the right time. It means being transparent about your intentions. It means owning up to your mistakes and defending yourself when it's the right time, but oftentimes being defenseless, right? You can't be defending yourself when you own up to mistakes. I did this, I'm sorry, I will do better. One time I did something, I threw a spider at my lady, and or I pretended to, because she was afraid of spiders, and I pushed her a little too bad and she snapped at me. Right? But the important thing is not her snapping, not me teasing her, but it was how I reacted afterwards, right? Because we snap at each other all the time, we tease each other all the time, but it's how we react afterwards. So how did I react? I became closed-minded, I became hurtful, I ignored her. So from her perspective, I pushed her, I pissed her off, she got mad at me, and then because I was so sensitive, I ignored her, I didn't look at her, and she got mad at me, real mad at me, and I had to double down and apologize a lot. But that's where I did good. I made the mistake in being too offended by something I shouldn't have. I was too defensive of something I should have been. But that's where I stepped up. I told the truth, I was transparent with my intentions, and I owned up to my mistakes. I was honest, I apologized, and when she said, no, it's okay, I said, no, it's not okay. It's not okay that as a man I'm acting like this. It's not okay that you think it's okay for men to act like this. Good men don't act this way. Good men don't do these things. I was acting like a wuss, and that is not acceptable, and I promise you I will do better. And then I did better. So while I made a mistake, I used it as an opportunity to not only grow as a man, but to be honest and transparent and own up to my mistakes, which helped our relationship. So you have to realize through my own experiences, your honesty builds the roots of your relationship, and it is rooted roots that make better fruit, right? I always love the analogy that's from the Bible. Good trees bring good fruit. But it doesn't matter how good the bark of the tree looks. It doesn't matter how green the leaves are. If the fruit tastes like crap, then the tree is shit. So if you want a good tree, if you want a good relationship, you have to go down to the roots and you have to be doing the best that you can do for the foundation to make it healthy. Because it doesn't matter how good it looks on the outside. If it is healthy and well-intentioned on the inside, then it is good. And in this, we find setting boundaries in the right way, right? And boundaries aren't what you think. There's boundaries and there's goals. So what about boundaries? Well, boundaries not a no, it's a path to success. So you got to be careful here. Like, immediately after this, you're going to come to the conclusion, okay, Nolan doesn't believe in consent. No means yes. That is not the case. No means no. You should always be consensual within intimate relationships. However, boundaries are what you think they are. If this is some girl you're picking up on the side of the street and you want, she's basically a whore, then obviously boundaries are applied. But if this is someone you want to marry, right? This is someone you've been with for years of your life, you want to marry, this is someone you want to have kids with one day, then boundaries don't mean never. Boundaries mean not now. Boundaries mean now is not the right time. Now is not the right moment. I'm not feeling like it right now. You clearly need to work on some things right now. I need to work on some things right now. Boundaries mean I'm not ready to have this relationship right now. I'm not ready to do this right now. We shouldn't be talking in this moment. That's what boundaries are. And boundaries must be respected as a man. Always. But in this, you have to realize, so what do you say no permanently to? Well, I love this analogy that when you set boundaries, you're building a brick wall. So let's say there's good things in front of you and there's bad things behind you. Well, as a boundary, you're walling yourself in. But you don't want to wall yourself out from the good things, because if you think about it, walls naturally crumble. And what do we crumble towards? The bad things, the things we desire, the things we are tempted towards, like lust, right? That's a big thing for men. So give yourself boundaries against bad things like lust, all the horrible things behind you, your bad relationships, those guys who cheated on you, the girls who were disrespectful to you. But wall yourself off from that stuff. But set open gates or goals to future things, like a healthy relationship, like healthy intimacy with a partner, like healthy communication, healthy love, beautiful things in the future that you want to aspire towards. Set open gates for those. So that way, you're not crumbling around and you're not falling back onto those bad habits. And masculine communication always moves towards clarity, not chaos. Masculine communication says, you know what, I'm not ready to do that intimate act with you, but you know what, when we spend a couple more months together and when we reach this milestone, then I'd like to do it. For a couple of reasons. One, we would have spent more time with each other, so we'd have more love. Two, we would have planned it, so it would have been way more impactful. And three, we would have been very familiar with ourselves, so we could have had not only a better time, but we would have known if we would have wanted to wait until marriage. Because if you love each other, why would you not want to wait for it? Why would you not want to make it more special? Why would you not want to plan more? Right? So those boundaries become like goals. The no becomes a not yet. The I'm not ready becomes something to look forward to in the future at a healthy time at the right pace. And in this, you have to realize leadership conversations look like, what do we want to do? What actions can we take? How can we prevent this for next time? How can we fix this personally so we can have, a healthy relationship? And you provide stability not through actions, you provide stability through actions, my apologies, not speeches. And what I'm saying here is I'm talking a lot to you. And my words might mean a little bit, but my actions mean a lot more. Imagine I was in you, pause. Imagine I was in a relationship with you, right? Imagine I was in a relationship with you and us together, I was actually doing these things. I was having these conversations with you. I was saying the right things. I was being healthy with you. Imagine that. Wouldn't that be way more impactful than me just talking to you about it? Right? I actually had these conversations. I actually provided you with the proofs. I spent time with you to actually build these things. Now, I know as a guy, you can only half appreciate it, but you can still understand nonetheless. Taking action and actually having actionable proofs, like the things women desire over time, makes it so much more ascertainable to be a good man rather than just talking about it. I'm at the point in my life where it's easier done than said, which is perfect. It's easier for me to make a lot of money and show people the fruits of my labor than try to explain these things to them. And in that, without explanations, people actually find more value in my proofs and more value in my actions. So take actionable steps, like not saying things when she doesn't want you to say things, or saying things when you know it's natural and when you know it's important, or setting healthy boundaries or helpful goals regarding communication. And in that, you will find a much healthier relationship than just talking about the things you want to do rather than, providing the solutions and the things you desire to do and working towards them. Overall, though, a man who communicates well is stable. He's predictable and he's safe to open up to. But why predictable? Predictable makes sense. Well, a man imagines a future with a woman. He imagines the wife, he imagines the kids. A woman foresees a future with a man. So a woman can foresee through prediction if he's the man she wants to be with. So she tells herself, I can foresee a future with this man. Doesn't matter if the future is good or not, it matters if she can foresee it. If you're unpredictable, if she can't predict you, how can she foresee a future? If you're always changing, how can she see you in the future? Doesn't matter if the future is you being a garbage man or if you're a billionaire. If she can foresee a future, that's good. If she can't see a future because you're going off to school and she doesn't trust you, or because you're not having the healthy conversations that are necessary for a good relationship, then she doesn't foresee a future. So prediction is essential, right? And a good woman responds to clarity, steadiness, and intention. She responds to these things. A crappy woman is not going to appreciate your words and the intentions that you bring forward, but a good woman is going to love all the things you do, and she will come back with better intentions. Overall, though, these skills don't make you talk more, but they make your words matter more when you talk. Not to say talk less, but to say have healthier intention. And finally, communication is the difference between relationships burning down and becoming healthy. So many people love to have these high school phases or honeymoon phases where they're just feelings, but I can tell you successfully as a man, I am more than feelings. I am true rooted masculine love based on healthy, God-fearing intentions, and a man who's ready to love his woman, not because he's a teenager who wants to love, but because he's a man who wants a family. And that is what results in healthy, growing relationships. My name is Nolan T. Painter. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow.